Hello, my name is Matt Ormsby with Mountain West Disability, and we are on Facebook Live. This is the first time that we've done this. Hopefully you can see me well and understand what I'm saying. What I'd like to do today is tell you a little bit about myself, about our company, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you might be able to strengthen your Social Security disability case. And then we'd also like to have you ask any questions that you might have for me today. Just go ahead and write those questions in the comment section, and we'll get to as many of them as we can after I go through the notes that I have for us. So we are Mountain West Disability. We help people who are applying for Social Security disability benefits. There are two programs available, SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, and SSDI, which is disability insurance. That would be based on your work history, credits that you earn after paying into the system. Under either system, the test for disability is the same, and if you are applying for benefits, it is very likely that at some point you will be with me in front of an administrative law judge, and that administrative law judge is going to use a 5-step sequential process to determine whether or not you meet the requirements for disability. I'm going to go through that process just briefly because 4 of those 5 process steps are important to the main topic I have for us today. So the first thing the judge is going to look at is whether you are currently earning money. It's okay to work a little bit and to earn a little bit of money, but if you're making over about $1,000 a month, then you're not going to qualify at step 1. At step 2, the judge is going to look to see if you have what are called severe medically determinable impairments. Basically what that means is, do you have a diagnosis, a medical condition that limits you in some way in your ability to work? If you do have at least one severe medically determinable impairment, then we move on to step 3, and the judge will look to see if any one of those impairments or a combination of those impairments meet what's called a medical listing. There are particular medical conditions where if you meet all of the requirements, then you are automatically found to be disabled. If you don't meet or equal a listing, then we move to step 4, and the judge looks to see whether you can go back and do any of your previous relevant work. Now, previous relevant work has a specific meaning for Social Security as well. The judge will look over the last 15 years of your work history and see the types of work you've done, and then the judge will determine what's called a residual functional capacity. Basically, this is the most important part of the judge's job, and he or she is tasked with determining what you're capable of doing. How long you can sit, how long you can stand, how much weight you can lift and carry, whether you're capable of simple work tasks or more complex work instructions, whether you have any difficulty dealing with supervisors, coworkers, or the general public. The judge takes into consideration all sorts of vocational characteristics and then compares those to the work that you've done in the past. If you can still do that same type of work, then you would not be disabled. If you can't do your previous work, then you would move to step 5, and with the help of a vocational expert, the judge will determine if there's any other work available in the national economy that someone with your restrictions or limitations might still be able to perform on a full-time basis. Now, the reason I go through all of these 5 steps is because at steps 2, 3, 4, and 5, it is very important for you to have medical evidence. And that's what I want to talk about today, is getting the best medical evidence we can to build your file. And basically what it comes down to is you need to be receiving medical care on a consistent, regular basis. When I say medical care, I would prefer that you would go and see a doctor, someone with an MD or a DO behind their name. If you have mental health impairments, I would prefer that you go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I know that's difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people end up needing to see physician's assistants or APRNs or licensed clinical social workers. Obviously, any medical care is better than no medical care, but Social Security will give more weight and more consideration to the opinions and the diagnoses of a medical doctor or, as I said, a psychiatrist or psychologist. So any treatment's better than no treatment, but we need you to be at the doctor getting regular care. Now, when you go to the doctor, it's very important not just to describe what's happening to you, but you need to tell your doctor, I need to be diagnosed. We need in your medical records actual diagnoses by these treating sources. Now, what does that mean? A diagnosis is a very specific thing, and depending on the condition that you might be suffering from, what's required for that diagnosis will change. I wanted to go over a few examples to help you understand that. A common ailment that people come to our office with is something called fibromyalgia. Now, fibromyalgia has a very specific way of being diagnosed that is set out by the American College of Rheumatology, or the ACR. In order to be truly diagnosed with fibromyalgia, you have to have a number of things found by a doctor. First off, you have to have a history of widespread pain. A history of that pain can only be shown if you're going to the doctor on a regular basis and complaining of that pain, describing that pain to your doctor. And then you need to have your doctor perform physical examinations to corroborate that pain. And during that examination for fibromyalgia specifically, you would have to have what's called a tender point analysis done, where the doctor will check physically with their hands on your body 18 different tender points, and you need to have at least 11 of those 18 tender points being positive. And then the last criteria for this fibromyalgia diagnosis would be an exclusion of other symptoms or causes, not symptoms, but exclusion of other causes of your pain and discomfort. So, for example, you might need to have blood drawn and have your rheumatoid factor looked at to see if potentially rheumatoid arthritis is a cause of that pain. The doctor needs to do the tender point analysis, have a history of your widespread pain, and needs to exclude any other sources of that pain. That's very different than just going to a doctor and saying, I've got diffuse pain all over my body, and he says, well, you probably have fibromyalgia, so take this medication. That's not going to cut it. We need to have good diagnoses done. Another example, a lot of people come to our office complaining of back pain. Well, in order to show that your back issues are a medically determinable impairment, we need to have imaging. You need to have x-rays or CT scans or MRIs that show what's happening with your back, whether it's a bulging disc, a herniated disc, degenerative disc disease with bone spurring, evidence of nerve root compression. And then again, we also need the physical examination, where a doctor will do things like straight leg testing and just looking for generalized tenderness throughout your spine. As far as a mental health listing or a mental health impairment is concerned, again, as I said, it's best if you can go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. If you can't, then again, just see whoever you can and get treatment. But your mental health diagnoses need to be made in accordance with the latest DSM-5 criteria. Whatever your condition may be, whether it's bipolar, schizoaffective disorder, major depressive disorder, there are very specific criteria that your psychiatrist or psychologist would need to find to make that diagnosis. So, you're going to the doctor, you're receiving regular medical care, you're getting your diagnoses, taking your medication regularly. The last thing that we would encourage you to do is to ask your doctor, ask your treating source if they can provide some sort of functional assessment for you. We have residual functional capacity and mental capacity forms that we'll send out to you that you can take to your doctor, or your doctor could write a narrative statement. Basically what we want is for your treating source to tell us what kinds of things you have difficulty with based on your medically determinable diagnoses. How long can you sit? How long can you stand? How much weight can you lift and carry? Would you have difficulty interacting with coworkers or supervisors? Would you need to sit down and raise your feet over your heart during the day for any period of time? Would you need to miss work on a regular or consistent basis due to your medical conditions? This is the most important thing for your case. If you have any questions, please call us, please email us, but you need to be receiving regular medical treatment. That's really the most important thing that I could tell you today. That's what I wanted to go over with you. It probably went by faster than I had hoped, but hopefully now we'll have some time to take questions from you. Are there any questions out there?
So far we've got somebody asking about bipolar, what they can specifically do if they have bipolar disorder.
Okay, so the first question we have on our comment section is related to bipolar disorder, what somebody can do if they have bipolar. I'm not any sort of medical professional, so again I would tell you what you need to do is seek medical treatment. Go to your primary care doctor, describe what's happening, see if you can get a referral to a specialist, psychiatrist, psychologist. If you're having difficulty getting a doctor's appointment, there are free and low-cost resources available. There are a number of clinics that will see you on a reduced cost basis or a sliding scale basis dependent on your income. And we can help you find those resources if you'll call in and talk to us. But no matter what the condition is, you just need to be receiving treatment, get the proper diagnosis, and then we can help you either fill out your initial application and get this process started, or if you've already started the disability application process, we can pick up anywhere along the way and assist you and make sure it's getting done properly.
Next question is, what are our fees?
Our fees, the next question is, how much do we charge for our services? Everything that we do as far as collecting payment, charging payments is statutorily mandated. We're not really able to set our own fees. And what the government has told us we can do is to charge up to, 25% of the back payments that you receive if you're found disabled, up to a maximum of $6,000. And again, if you have any questions about that, please feel free to call us. None of our fee will come out of your regular monthly disability check that comes in the mail. It would all come from the portion of back payments that you're entitled to if you are found to be disabled.
And what if they're not approved?
When the next question was, what if you're not approved? What if you are denied your disability benefits? When you apply for disability, the first application, it's just a paper application, and unfortunately, most people will be denied at that point. After that first initial denial of your claim, we would help you file an administrative appeal. If at that point you're again denied, then we would request a hearing where I would come with you in front of an administrative law judge and we would present your case. The administrative law judge does not have to consider those previous denials and can make their own independent evaluation of your case. The judge can do a number of things. He or she can approve your claim as we present it. They can grant you benefits based on some later period of time that conforms more closely to what's in the medical evidence, or they could deny your claim. If the administrative law judge denies your claim, that's not the end of the road either. There is an appeals council who will look at any and all appeals that are submitted. Together we can go over the judge's decision, decide at that point whether it's best for you to file an appeal to the appeals council, or we could potentially start a new claim. Again, this all depends on your situation, on what happens with the judge in your hearing. So if you have other questions about that, please feel free to call us or email us.
Okay, next question is, do we offer free consultations?
The next question is whether we offer free consultations, and yes, we do. You can call us. You know what? Let me, while I'm sitting here, grab a phone number for you. It's on our website as well, but we have a toll-free number. You can call us at 888-765-8644, or you can go to mountainwestdisability.com. We're happy to answer your questions. We're happy to consult with you about your case, tell you what we think about it, tell you what you might need to do to be eligible for benefits.
Perfect. Next question is, what is considered regular medical treatment? Is it every month, every 2 months?
The next question is, what is considered to be regular medical treatment? For some conditions, that might mean you need to go see the doctor every week. For some conditions, it means every month. For some conditions, it's every other month. It really just depends on what's happening in your life. Start off by going to the doctor and ask them, how often you should be returning. Your doctor will prescribe for you the best course of treatment, and just make sure you're doing whatever the doctor advises.
Great. I think that's the last question.
Okay, right now we don't have any other questions in our comment section, so we'll hang around for just a minute longer. If anybody wants to ask another question, we're happy to do that. Again, you can go to our website, mountainwestdisability.com, or call us at 888-765-8644. Looks like there's still no other questions, so we will be back again to try this experiment a second time. We do have one more question that's just come in.
He says, why is SSD sometimes denied?
The question is, why are Social Security benefits sometimes denied to people? The government, Social Security, has set up this program. A lot of people feel like it is something that they are entitled to. That they've worked their whole life. They've paid into the system. Now something has happened. They're no longer able to work. Why is it so difficult to receive those benefits? I understand your frustration. There are very specific criteria that need to be met in order to be found disabled for purposes of Social Security. We can help you to understand what those criteria are. We can help you to gather the evidence that's necessary to prove your case to the government, to show them why you are disabled, and we'll hold your hand through every step of that process. We'll be available to you on the phone. You can come into our office. We're going to do everything we can to help you be approved if you do qualify. That being said, sometimes I think, and the reason that I talked about medical treatment today was because the biggest reason people are denied is that they just don't have the medical evidence to support their claim of disability. So again, I would encourage you to go and seek regular medical treatment.
Okay, we do have another one. Do you work alone, or is there other attorneys that work with you?
There is another attorney here in our office, Ron Kramer, who works with me, and we have a very capable professional staff of assistants, paralegals, who will help you through the intake process, help you to gather the medical documents that you need, remind you of all of your appointments with Social Security, answer all of your questions. Everybody will be assigned a caseworker, and an attorney will be supervising your work up to the point that you are assigned a hearing, at which point the hearing attorney will take over. You will always be able to talk with your hearing attorney before you go and see the administrative law judge. We want to do everything we can to help you, to make you feel comfortable, and answer all of your questions.
All right, another question says, I am already a client and I'm waiting to see the judge. What can I do now to strengthen while I'm waiting?
So you have a hearing scheduled. Is that
Mhm.
okay? I'm sorry. The question was from a current client asking what they can do now to strengthen their case that they have a hearing scheduled with the judge. Just make sure you're doing everything your caseworker has talked to you about. Make sure you turn in all of your forms, medication lists, work history, recent medical treatment. Make sure you're available for the pre-hearing interview with your hearing attorney, where we will talk about what happens at the hearing, the types of questions the judge will ask. And again, just make sure you continue to follow through with the prescribed treatment regimen that your doctors have given you.
All right, I think that is the last question.
All right, we don't have any more questions right now. I'd like to thank you again for tuning in, and we'll be back at a later date.